जय गोपीजनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर श्री राधे जय राधा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are reading 11th canto, 3rd chapter, text 25. Please repeat after me. Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham kaivalyamaniketam vivikta chiravasanam संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्रात्मेश्वरान् वीक्षाम् कैवल्यामानिकेतताम् विविक्तचिरवसनम् संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्रात्मेश्वरान् वीक्षाम् कैवल्यामानिकेतताम् विविक्तचिरवसनम् संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्रात्मेश्वरान् वीक्षाम् कैवल्यम् अनिकेतताम् विविक्तचिरवसनम् संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्रात्मेश्वरान् वीक्षाम् कैवल्यमानिकेतताम् विविक्तचिरवसनम् संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्रात्मेश्वरान् वीक्षाम् कैवल्यमानिकेतताम् विविक्तचिरवसनम् संतोषं येन केनचित्। सर्वत्र everywhere, Atma for one's true self, Ishvara and for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anviksham meditation by keeping continuously in view, Kaivalyam solitude, Aniketatam having no fixed residence, Vivikta Chira scraps of cloth found in unfrequented places, Vasanam wearing, Santosham satisfaction, Yena kenachit with anything. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. One should practice meditation by constantly seeing oneself to be an eternal cognizant spirit soul, and seeing the Lord to be the absolute controller of everything. To increase one's meditation, one should live in a secluded place and give up false attachment to one's home and household paraphernalia. Giving up the decorations of temporary material body, one should dress himself with scraps of cloth found in rejected places or with the bark of tree. In this way, one should learn to be satisfied in any material situation. Purport. Kaivalyam, or living in a secluded place, indicates a place free from material disturbances. Therefore, one should live in the association of Vaishnavas, where the common goal is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Especially in the Kali Yuga, if one tries to remain physically isolated from all others, the result will be degradation or insanity. Aniketatam means that one should not be intoxicated by the ephemeral satisfaction of one's home sweet home, which will vanish at any moment by the unforeseen circumstances produced by one's previous activities. In this age, it is not actually possible to dress in a tree bark in modern cities, nor to wear mere scraps of cloth. Previously, human culture accommodated those practicing tapasya or penances in the interest of spiritual advancement. In this age, however, the most urgent necessity is for preaching the message of Bhagavad Gita throughout the human society. Therefore, it is recommended that Vaishnavas dress with clean and neat cloth, covering the body decently, so that the conditioned souls will not be frightened or repulsed by the severe penance of Vaishnavas. In the Kali Yuga, the conditioned souls are extremely attached to material sense gratification, and extreme austerities are not appreciated, but are instead considered abominable denials of the flesh. Of course, austerity is required for spiritual advancement, but the practical example set by Srila Prabhupada in successfully spreading the Krishna consciousness movement was that all material things should be used to attract people to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Vaishnavas may at times adopt ordinary dress to serve the higher principle of distributing Krishna consciousness. In any case, one should learn to be satisfied in any material situation so as to prepare for the moment of death. According to Bhagavad Gita, at the time of death, the particular consciousness we have created in this life will carry us to our future situation. Therefore, human life can be seen as a type of practice for successfully fixing one's mind on the absolute truth during the severe trials of death. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kangshan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas who have assembled here. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is 11th canto, chapter 3, text 25. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the second chapter, the description of the meeting of Nav-Yogendras, the 9 sages with Maharaj Nimi is described. So this story is being described by Sri Narad Muni in answer to the question raised by Sri Vasudeva. So here, to describe the process and the features of Bhagavat Dharma, Maharaj, and answering the questions of Maharaj Nimi, the 9 Yogendras have been speaking. In the second chapter, the very first question that Maharaj Nimi raised in front of the Nava Yogendras is, please tell me about the Bhagavat Dharma. So the second chapter, from verse 31st, the Nava Yogendras started describing the process of Bhagavat Dharma. What is Bhagavat Dharma? We have heard it. The Jaiva Dharma. Bhakti is actually Bhagavat Dharma. So the Nava Yogendras started describing the characteristics of Bhagavat Dharma in the second chapter of the 11th canto. Until the end of the second chapter, they are describing the process of Bhagavat Dharma, and then Nimi Maharaj goes on to ask that, please tell me the characteristics of those devotees who follow such Bhagavat Dharma, how they talk, how they walk, how they are carrying their duties in this world. Tell me about the advanced devotees, the intermediate devotees and neophyte devotees, and how they can be categorized. So till the end of second chapter, this is what is being discussed. The process of Bhagavat Dharma and the devotees who are following Bhagavat Dharma, what is their characteristics. In the beginning of third chapter, Maharaj Nimi asks these Nava Yogendras that please tell me the characteristics of the illusory potency of the Lord, Maya. And in answer to this question, the Yogendras started replying to Maharaj Nimi, and this is in sequence of those verses that we are reading today. The Yogendras are describing the characteristics of Maya, and they have described how a living entity is bound in this material world by the illusory potency of the Lord. And they describe about how the living entity comes to this material world and how at the time of annihilation everybody goes into the abdomen of Mahavishnu, and that's how living entities are eternally bound in this material world. So when such description of Maya is given by the Nav Yogendras, Maharaj Nimi again asks a question in verse 17 of this chapter. Maharaj Nimi asks a question to these Navayogendras that you are talking about the illusory potency of the Lord, and I understand that from this description it is very difficult to overcome this Maya. This illusory potency is very difficult to overcome. But I want to ask, in benefit of all the assembled devotees here and all the assembled sadhakas here, that how can we overcome this illusory potency of the Lord? So he asks this question particularly, Yathaitam Aishwarim Mayam Dustaram Akritatmabhihi Tarantyanjah Sthula Dhiyo Maharsha Idam Achyutam. So this is a question that is asked in the 17th verse of this chapter. That please tell me, Yathaitam Aishwarim Mayam, this Aishwari Maya, this Maya which is actually a manifestation of Lord's potency, it is very difficult to overcome. Dustaram akritatmabhihi. Dustaram means it is very difficult, it is insurmountable. This is what Maharaj Nimi is talking, and he is telling about Maya. But I want to ask you, how can a person who is akritatmabhi, who has not controlled his senses, sthuladhiya, who is not very intelligent, who thinks this body to be self, even such a person, how can they cross over this Maya very easily? Just as a person who catches hold of a tail of a dog and tries to cross ocean, will he be able to cross it? No. It is very difficult, right? The ocean you cannot cross just by catching tail of a dog and think that no, dog will take me over the ocean. But even a person who has not controlled his senses, two things he says. A person who has not controlled his senses, a person who is sthula dhiya, who is having sthula, that means gross, he's a fool actually. A person who is a fool, who cannot understand the difference between body and soul, who thinks body to be self, such a person can also cross over this material existence. How can such a person cross over this material existence? With difficulty? No. He says, Anja, very easily he should be able to cross over. Please tell me such a process. So this is a process being described by the Nav-Yogendras in answer to this question. So the series of verses from here, from verse 18 till I think verse 30 or 35, the Nav-Yogendras are answering this particular question of Nimi Maharaj, that how can a person who is sthula dhiya, who is grossly fool, who thinks body to be self, and a person who has not controlled his senses, should be able to cross over this insurmountable illusory potency of the Lord, that too very easily. So, a question is raised here by the Acharyas that have Nav-Yogendras not answered this question previously. In description of the Bhagavad Dharma, the Nav-Yogendras have already answered this question. They have already answered that how can a living entity who is bound by the illusory potency of the Lord cross over this material existence. In the very famous verse, Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshatah Syat. In that verse itself, the Nav-Yogendras have told Tan Mayayato Buddha Abhajettam. Anybody who wants to cross over this material existence, who is buddhiman, who is very intelligent, should take to the process of bhakti, should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thereby one will be able to cross over this material existence. So the question has already been answered. Why is it that Maharaj Nimi is again asking this question to Nav-Yogendras? The answer is given is because although Maharaj Nimi has complete faith in Bhagavad Dharma, he has complete faith in the process of bhakti, and he understands that the bhakti is the only way to attain Vaikuntha, to go back to Godhead, or to cross over this material existence. Bhakti is the only way. Still, because there are people in the audience who are following the process of karma and jnana, and they might have some doubt. They might think that, okay, bhakti is one process by which a living entity can cross over this material existence. Maybe there are other processes also, and we can take help of karma and jnana to cross over the material existence. To make sure that all the people who are sitting in the audience also firmly understand that bhakti is the only way to cross over material existence, Maharaj Nimi is asking this question to encourage the Nav-Yogendras to explain in detail how bhakti delivers a living entity. So this is in answer to this particular question. Nav-Yogendras are actually describing the entire process of bhakti. So Sri Prabuddha Uvacha, in the 18th verse, Prabuddha, one of the Nav-Yogendras, starts speaking, and he says, Karmanyarabhamananam dukkha hatyai sukhaya cha Pashyet pak viparyasam mithuni charinam rinam. In the 18th verse, we have already discussed this, but since I'm just trying to bring everything in the context. So in this verse, they have already, Nav-Yogendras, especially Prabuddha, here starts describing that those who are mithuni charinam, who are always engaged in material affairs, who are always thinking that I can attain happiness in this world, they are always endeavoring for happiness in this world, such a person should be able to first see that there is no happiness in this world. This is what Prabuddha starts speaking. So before describing the process of bhakti, the Nav-Yogendras are establishing a container in which bhakti can be held, which is renunciation. Without sufficient renunciation, a sadhaka will not be able to practice bhakti, is what Prabuddha is speaking. He is saying without sufficient renunciation, you cannot practice bhakti. So Sri Rupa Goswami also in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, when he starts describing who are the people who are qualified to do bhakti, Sri Rupa Goswami says that those who are not too detached and not too attached are qualified to do bhakti. Because Sri Rupa Goswami says that if you are too detached from this material world, there is a tendency that you will try to attain moksha. You will forget the service of the Lord. Because you see, the jnanis, they are too detached. They are always meditating how this world is temporary, illusory, and that world is permanent. They are always meditating on this. And since they are always meditating on this, even some processes of bhakti that we engage ourselves in, they feel this is not necessary, this is useless. And they reject even the processes of bhakti which is actually elevating. So some of these jnanis, which I have also seen in my personal life, that if you talk to them, they will say that, okay, Leela and all, Krishna's pastimes in 10th canto, this is all fine. This is just to encourage a sadhaka to come to the higher stage, higher platform where you can actually see, where you can actually do nirvikalpa samadhi and see the Brahman, realize Brahman. So that's what they say. So they immediately reject the pastimes of the Lord, the qualities of the Lord, and even serving. Now some jnanis might say, who are completely detached, they would say that why there is a need to arrange Rath Yatra and worship the Lord. What is the use of that? Just sit down in your room, be completely detached, don't engage your senses in anywhere, and just meditate on Brahman. What is the use of engaging your senses in all these services? This is for less intelligent class of people, and therefore one should not be too much worried about all of these practices. So people who are too detached tend to go towards moksha. They even reject the processes of bhakti. Therefore Sri Rupa Goswami says that somebody who is too detached cannot engage in bhakti. Then Sri Rupa Goswami says that somebody who is too attached also cannot engage in bhakti, because bhakti requires some level of detachment. Not to the level of the jnanis and the sannyasis, but bhakti does require at least this much understanding that we are not this body, we are soul, and we have to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. So therefore Sri Rupa Goswami says that those who are always thinking, here Prabuddha says that those who are always thinking that there is some happiness in this material world, they should, by intelligence, they should see that there is no happiness in this world. And therefore even Vidur in 3rd canto, he says that people, especially in this material world, sukhaya karmani karoti loke. People in this world, they are always engaged in activities to attain happiness in this world. But what do they get? They get opposite of it. They always get misery in this world. Therefore, one should see that there is no happiness in this world. In Bhagavatam, there are several verses which describes this. You see, Bhagavatam is such a literature that it does not mince word when speaking about the nature of this material world. It provides us absolute truth in the most direct fashion that we can get. Therefore, Bhagavatam will not tell you that, okay, you can even enjoy this material world and you can also go to Vaikuntha. That's not what Bhagavatam says. In Bhagavatam, it is specifically spoken about the attached householders. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu dukkha tantreshu atandritaha kurvan dukkha pratikaram sukkhavat manyate grihi. Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto, chapter 30th, it says that a householder, an attached householder, griheshu kuta dharmeshu, in his house, he is always engaged in deceitful activities. To earn livelihood, he has to sometimes speak lies. So, griheshu kuta dharmeshu dukkha tantreshu atandrita, and not just one dukkha. He does not have even one misery in his life. He has multiple miseries in his life. One after another, he has miseries after miseries in his life. And such an attached householder, what he thinks dukkha tantreshu atandrita. He is very expert in handling these situations in his life. That, okay, if I do this, I can solve this problem. If I do this, I will solve this problem. He is very expert in handling all these situations. Dukkha tantreshu atandrita kurvan dukkha pratikaram. He does pratikara for these dukkha. He removes one misery in his life and he thinks, now I have become happy. Sukkhavat manyate grihi. Now that I have become happy. So Bhagavatam does not mince word in speaking truth. It speaks direct truth to us. Bold, direct truth. that you cannot expect to be happy in this material world and think that I will go to Vaikuntha. This is not what we can expect. So here in this section, Prabuddha says this, that somebody who is having such mentality, who understands that there is no happiness in this material world, that person is qualified to go to a guru and inquire about absolute truth. And therefore Prabuddha in the next verse he says, Tasmat gurum prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttama. He says, Tasmat, therefore such a person who has such qualification, who has attained such qualifications of vairagya and minimal renunciation that is needed to practice bhakti, such a person should go in front of Guru, offer respects to the Guru, and then inquire about the Bhagavad Dharma and learn from him what is the process of Bhagavad Dharma, what is the process of bhakti. So you see, this is how this entire section is being described. So in the same section, after describing that what one should describe and how one should conduct oneself when one has accepted Guru. So previously, Prabuddha describes that in this world there is no happiness. He says clearly that there is no happiness. Even in the heavenly planets there is no happiness. There are people who are fighting for the same post. Even in heavenly planets, if you are equal, you have, there is a tendency to remove other person. There is irshya, there is dvesha even in heavenly planets, so you cannot expect happiness even in those planets. Then he says that one who understands all of this, accepts a guru, what he should do? He says such a person should conduct himself very carefully in the guidance of Guru. One should not do irshya, one should not envy others, one should be very careful in dealing with the devotees. That's how he says. He says that daya maitrim prashrayam cha bhuteshwadha yathochitam. Then he says, then he talks about shauch, tapah, titiksha, mauna, swadhyaya, arjavam. He talks about simplicity, he talks about shaucha. One should practice austerity, one should practice mauna, one should practice brahmacharya, ahimsa and all of this. So all of this that Prabuddha is describing is like a container where bhakti can be held. You see, if you want to go and purchase milk at a milk shop, and if you don't have a container, if you ask the milk wala, please give me some milk, and you hold your uttari in front of the milk wala, he will ask, where will you take this milk? The milk will not stay in your uttari, in your vastra. It will not stay. So therefore the container in which bhakti can stay is some minimal renunciation that is expected here. So that's what Prabuddha describes here in these verses. And then in this verse he says, Sarvatratmeshwaran viksham kaivalyam aniketatam vivikta chiravasanam santosham yena kenachit. He says that a devotee, a person who has started practicing bhakti, sarvatra atmeshwaran viksham. He should see the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere. He should see his Ishta Devata. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this he says that Swa Ishta Devasya, one should see one's Ishta Devata, one should see Radha Shyama Sundar everywhere. Wherever he goes, he should see that this is because of the external or internal energy of the Lord. So one should see the Lord everywhere. Then he says, Kaivalyam aniketatam. Kaivalyam ekanta shilatvam. Sridhar Swamipad says, Kaivalyam means one should sometimes even take some secluded place and try to do your chanting. It's not like you can chant your rounds, going in metro and going in traffic. So one should find some secluded place to do some bhajan. Then he says, Vivikta chira vasanam aniketatam. For aniketatam, Sridhar Swamipad says, aniketatam grihadhyabhimana rahityam. He says one should not be proud of one's griha and possessions that he has acquired in this world. Griha adi abhiman rahitam. He should not have griha adi abhiman. And literal meaning is aniketatam, one should not even have a place of residence. That's how it is translated. Vivikta chira vasanam santosham yena kenachit. Therefore one should live very simply. Whatever one obtains by the natural processes in this world, by that process one should maintain oneself, and this is how one should live. All this is just the container being described. This is not the actual process of bhakti. You see, in Bhakti Sandarbha, Sri Jiva Goswami, in his 217th Anucheda, he describes that bhakti is of three types. Bhakti Sandarbha, he is describing three types of bhakti. The first type of bhakti, he says, is Aropa Siddha Bhakti. What is Aropa Siddha Bhakti? Such activities which are devoid of bhakti completely. They have no relationship with bhakti, but they attain the quality of bhakti by being offered it to the Lord at the end. They have nothing to do with bhakti. Just as a person who is doing a job, let's say, at some place. Now, doing a job to earn your livelihood has nothing to do with bhakti. It has nothing to do with bhakti. This is the lowest level of bhakti one can perform. That okay, I am doing it, anyway I have to maintain myself, my livelihood, I have to do something. It has nothing to do with bhakti, but whatever I obtain after doing it, if I offer it to the Lord, it is called Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Arop means, putting it on top of it. It's like, it has nothing to do with bhakti, but you are like placing bhakti on top of it to make sure that it is purified. So such an activity which has nothing to do with bhakti, but you do some aropa of bhakti on top of it, is called Aropa Siddha Bhakti. This is the lowest level of bhakti. This is called Aropa Siddha Bhakti. The second level of bhakti, which Sri Jiva Goswami describes, is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti. What is Sangha Siddha Bhakti? He says that there are some activities which are mentioned in the Vedas, the Vedic literatures, where it is described that a Brahmana or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya and a Shudra should perform this, then this prescribed duty. So such prescribed duties which actually have nothing to do with bhakti. They have nothing to do with direct service of the Lord, but they help you in bhakti in some way. They can help you. They can be utilized as assistant of bhakti. Such processes are called Sangha Siddha Bhakti. And Sri Jiva Goswami exactly quotes these series of verses in describing Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Sangha Siddha Bhakti means something, the process of Jnana and Vairagya, the minimal process of Jnana and Vairagya which is helpful in bhakti, which is this. So Sri Jiva Goswami quotes these series of verses in describing Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So you see, when a person is performing yajna or a sacrifice, so what is performance of sacrifice in one word, if somebody has to say? Offering oblations in fire. You see, everybody has seen it. When we perform yajna, what do? We have some oblations, we offer that in fire. Now, is yajna just performing oblations in fire? Is there nothing beyond it? No. Everything that you do before the yajna is also part of yajna. Before you offer oblations in fire, what do? You have to make an arrangement of creating a bedi. You have to keep some fruits. You have to do some mantra. You have to create some put some mantras. You have to purify the whole place. So all of this, which is in preparation of doing that oblation, is also part of yajna. Is that yajna? Truly speaking, it is not. Offering oblation is yajna. But even that which is preparing you to perform yajna is also part of yajna. Such processes are called Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Something which helps in the direct process of bhakti is called Sangha Siddha. So this is the second kind of bhakti. First is Aropa Siddha Bhakti, which has nothing to do with bhakti, but you put aropa. You attach bhakti to it. Second is Sangha Siddha Bhakti, which also has nothing to do with bhakti. Tapasya, Brahmacharya, Jnana, Vairagya has nothing to do with bhakti, but they help you in bhakti, is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti and Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. This is the highest platform of devotional service. This is called pure devotional service. What is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti? Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So the 9 processes of bhakti, beginning with Shravan, Kirtan and Smaran, the 3 main pillars of bhakti are called pure devotional service. This is called direct bhakti, which gives immediate result. This is what Sri Jiva Goswami says. So Jiva Goswami puts these verses that we are reading in this section as Sangha Siddha Bhakti. They are helpful in bhakti, and therefore you will find immediately after the series of verses end, immediately Shravanam Kirtanam is described. If you go to verse maybe 27 and 28, you see immediately Shravanam Kirtanam Dhyanam Harer Adbhuta Karmana Janma Karma Gunanam Cha Tadarthe Akhila Cheshtita. After describing the container, the purpose of all this description is what? The purpose is to describe the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Everything is just a cover, is like an helpful place where you can perform bhakti. The main process is this Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Therefore, it is important to understand what we are doing. It's not like we shouldn't be in illusion thinking that no, I am performing bhakti and this is what is going to take me to Vaikuntha. If we perform Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, that will give us immediate result. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada always told us that 99% of our development depends upon chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chanting of the holy names, hearing Krishna Katha, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, these are the most, they are pillars of bhakti process. And this is what one should do. All of this is just a background that is preparing us to perform Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. This is the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. So you see, there are, so this is the complete understanding of this whole section. In our Sampradaya, we have 6 Goswamis. Among the 6 Goswamis, Raghunath Das Goswami is considered embodiment of renunciation and embodiment of loving service. Raghunath Das Goswami has set standards so high that it will be very difficult for normal sadhakas to even think about it, such standards of sadhana. Raghunath Das Goswami would drink just 1 cup of buttermilk every 3 days, and he was maintaining himself in that way. So look at the renunciation that Raghunath Das Goswami had. When he was there in Jagannath Puri, he was personally trained by Swarupa Damodar Goswami, and in this way Raghunath Das Goswami learnt the renunciation that is needed to perform bhakti. Mahaprabhur Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan is also spoken. Among the followers of Mahaprabhu, renunciation is very important. So therefore, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami set the standards of renunciation, and he also set the standards of loving devotional service. Sitting at Radha Kund crying tears in separation, in anticipation of Shri Radha and Krishna, he wrote the work Shri Vilapa Kusumanjali. So such was the renunciation and loving devotional service of Shri Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami, teaching us, he has written 11 verses instructing the sadhakas on the process of bhakti with renunciation. How a devotee should practice bhakti. And these verses are actually instructing the mind of a sadhaka. They are calling out the mind of the sadhaka. Oh mind, oh my mind, please hear me. And therefore they are called Mana Siksha. In our tradition, this is a common tradition of instructing the mind. Even Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote Mana Siksha in Bengali. So Mana Siksha, in Mana Siksha, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami instructs sadhakas how they should control their mind, perform renunciation, and also perform bhakti. So in Mana Siksha, very first verse, we will maybe recite 1 or 2 verses from Mana Siksha and try to see what are the instructions Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has given. So please repeat after me. Gurau Goshthe Goshtha, Gurau Goshthe Goshtha, Laishu Sujane Bhu Suragane, Swamantre Shri Namni, Brajana Yuva Dvandva Sharane, Sadadam Bham Hitva, Kururatim Purvam atitaram kururatimapur aye swantar bhratash Chatubhirayache dhritapadah. So this is the first verse of Mana Siksha that Raghunath Das Goswami has written. You see, if you want to convince a person, he is trying to convince his mind. Basically not his mind, the minds of the sadhakas who are reading it. He does not need to control his mind. Raghunath Das Goswami is a perfected soul. So, if you want to convince a person, there are three ways you can employ to convince a person. The first thing that you can do, if you want to convince a person, is you try to cajole him. You try to request him, plead him, that, you know what, I want you to perform bhakti, I want you to do this, can you please do it for me? You plead, you cajole, you speak very sweet words, and in this way you can try to convince a person. A person of good intelligence can get convinced even with this. But if somebody does not agree to you, and if you still want to convince him, what is the second method that you can employ? You can assertively instruct a person. If you are in a position of instructing a person, you can assertively tell him that you must do this, I am telling you, you should do it. That's it. Over. Khatam. So you can do this. You can try to instruct a person in this way. You can assertively tell him that this is what needs to be done, you should understand it, this is for your benefit, you should do it, that's it, over. This is the second method that you can employ. The third method that you can employ to convince a person is you can chastise and instruct a person that you fool, you knucklehead, you don't understand. I am telling you, you should do this, this is for your benefit, understand this, you should do it, this is what you should do. So Sri Raghunath Das Goswami in his Mana Siksha employs all these three methods in trying to convince his mind. Not his mind, the minds of the sadhakas. So this is the first verse of Mana Siksha where Raghunath Das Goswami is pleading the mind. He's trying to cajole the mind, requesting him. And what he says, look at how he tells the mind. He says, Aye, in the last line, Aye swantar bhratash, Aye antah shwantar bhratash, swa antah bhratash. Oh my brother, you are my brother. He's telling you his mind. She, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, I just remembered that, he would say that one should beat one's mind with 100 shoes in the morning and 100 broomsticks in the evening, and that's how one can control the mind. So here he's not beating the mind, he's just cajoling and trying to convince him by pleading, by giving some sweet words. So look at how sweetly he tries to address his mind. He says, Aye swantar bhratash chatubhira yache dhritapadah. I hold on to your lotus feet, O my mind. Dhrita padah, I hold on to your lotus feet. Chatubhira yache, and I do your chatukarita. I am just pleading you. Please listen to me. This is what I want to tell you. Will you please listen to me? Will you please listen to me? This is how he is trying to convince his mind. So the mind will immediately say that, oh, please tell me, what is it? Why are you pleading so much? So he says, this is what you should do. Gurao goshthe goshthalai susujane bhusuragane. In the first, second line, he lists down several personas that the mind should take care of. He says Gurau, in the Guru, in one spiritual master. The first personality he lists out is Guru. Goshthe. Goshthe means Vrindavan, the dham where the cows are grazing all over. The Leela Sthali of the Lord, Goshthe, Goshtha Laishu, and in the Vrajavasis, the people who are residing in this dham. Sujane Bhu Suragane, and in Bhu Suragana, Bhu means Bhumi, Bhu means earth, Sura means God. So, gods of this earth, that means the Brahmanas. So, in the Brahmanas, in the Guru, in this Vrindavan Dham, in the Vrajavasis, Swa Mantre, in your mantra, in the mantra that we have received during our initiation, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in the mantra, this mantra is specifically the mantra that we receive in second initiation. Then he says Shri Namni. Namni means in the name of the Lord, which is Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Vraja Nava Yuva Dvandva Charane. Vraja Nava Yuva Dvandva. Who is the newly ever fresh divine couple of this Vrindavan? Shri Radha and Krishna. So in all these personalities, who are these personalities? Let's again list them out. Guru, Goshtha, that is Vrindavan, Goshtha Laishu, Vrajavasis, Bhusuragane, Brahmanas, Swamantre, in the mantra one has received, Shri Namni, in the holy name of the Lord, Vrajanava Yuva Dvandva Sharane, in Shri Radha and Krishna. So in these 7 personalities, what one should do? He says, Sadadambham hitva kururatima purvam atitaram. One should dambham hitva. One should abandon pride and deceit in all of them. In dealing with such personalities, one should abandon one's pride. One should abandon one's deceit. One should abandon duplicity in dealing with such personalities. And atitaram, he says, Sada Ratim Apurvam Atitaram, and one should develop immense love for such personalities. In this way, one should live in Vrindavan, one should live and do sadhana. So these are the 7 personalities he lists down. So this is how he is trying to cajole the mind. That, oh my brother, oh my internal brother, I am pleading you, I am asking this one request. Will you please do this? Will you please, develop love for these personalities? So this is how he pleads. So in his first verse he speaks like this. So this is an example of how he pleads. Again, in second verse and other verses also he pleads. Let's look at the second example where one can assertively instruct the mind. So let's go to verse 5. Let's recite this verse 5. Asat cheshta kashta, asat pradavikat pashalibhiriha, prakamam kamadip, प्रकट पथ पातिव्यतिकरै, प्रकट पथ पातिव्यतिक गले बद्ध्वा हन्ये, अहमिति बक भेद्वर्त्मपगणे, कुरुत्वं फुत्कारान् नवति स यथा त्वां मनयितः. Now here Sri Raghunath Das Goswami starts instructing the mind. He says, Asat cheshta kashta prad. He said, you see these useless material activities, these material endeavors which have no fruit at the end of the day, they are all going to be fruitless at the end. Such material endeavors are kashta prada, they are very pain giving. Vikata pashalibhihi kamadi prakata pathapati. He says that such material activities are useless, they actually give lot of pain. And these kama adi, these 6 kind of vikaras, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsarya, all of these vikaras, they are like highway robbers. Just like a person who is moving on expressway, there are sometimes you will meet with highway robbers. These robbers will stop you at your place, they will take you out of your car, they will take you out of your vehicle, they will plunder all the wealth that you have kept. And they will make you suffer at that place. So these kamadi vikara, these lust, greed, anger and all these vikaras, all these unnecessary things in this world, they are like highway robbers who rob a devotee who is walking on the path of bhakti. They rob him of the wealth of renunciation and bhakti. They rob him up. And therefore, when you are being robbed by such robbers, when you are trying to move on this path of bhakti and you are being robbed by these kamadi vikaras, you are being robbed by such anarthas, what you should do? Oh my mind, you should do this. He is instructing. Now he is not cajoling. Now he is not telling him that, no, I am pleading you, please do this and do that. No. He is telling, he is instructing them. He is instructing the mind that if you are being robbed, gale badhva, if these vikaras have actually tightened their noose around your neck, now you are almost about to die, what you should do? You should cry out very loudly, Hanyeham, Hanyeham, oh I am dying, I am being killed by these highway robbers, please help me, please help me. To whom you should cry out? Just as a person who is being robbed on highway, he will cry out, he will call 911, he will call 100, call out the police, and he will call out very loudly that I am being killed, please help me, please help me. The police will come, they will help, they will drive out the robbers from that place and they will save that person. In the same way, when you are being robbed by these material anarthas, what you should do? You should cry out very loudly that I am being killed. To whom you should cry out? He says that Bakabhit Vartma Pagane, those devotees who are walking on the path of bhakti, who have already advanced to a great extent, to such devotees you should call out very loudly that, oh dear devotees, please help me, I am being robbed by these material desires. Please help me, please help me. Such things you should do. This is how Sri Raghunath Das Goswami assertively instructs the mind. The third one. What is the third method that Raghunath Das Goswami employs to instruct the mind? Chastise. Very heavily. Chastise. Tell him that you are a fool. So let's go to the next verse and try to see how Raghunath Das Goswami chastises. Verse 6. Are chetah prodya kapat kuti nati bharakhara ksharan mutre snatva dahasi kathamatmanamapi mam sadatvam gandharva giridhara pada prema vilasa sudham bodhau snatva swamapi nitaram mam cha sukhaya. So you see, in the first verse, what was Raghunath Das Goswami telling? He was telling, my mind, please listen to me. The way he addressed the mind is Aye Swantar Bhratas. Aye is a very soft addressing. Aye is used. Now here what he addresses? Are Chetah. So here the address changed. He is very strong now. He is very heavy on the mind now. He says, Are Chetah Prodyat Kapatakutinati Bharakhara. Oh my mind, why are you always suffering? And why are you making me suffer? If the mind asks, how am I making you suffer and how am I suffering? He says that you are always performing some duplicity and deceit in this world. And this performance of duplicity and deceit, this performance of such dramatic performance of duplicity and deceit, it is like taking bath. He uses very strong words. So it is like taking bath in the urine of an ass. This is what he says. So getting engaged in duplicity and deceit is like taking bath in the urine of an ass. And this, by taking bath, you are making yourself suffer. You are burning in that urine bath and you are making me also suffer. Why are you doing it? I don't understand. Stop this immediately. What you should do? He says in the third line. Sadatvam gandharva Giridhara Pada Prema Vilasat. Why don't you always engage yourself in Gandharvika Giridhari's bhajan? Why don't you chant Gandharvika Giridhari, worship him? And in this way, by worshipping Gandharvika Giridhari, you will be taking bath in Sudham Bhodau. You will be taking bath in the ocean of nectar. Somapi Nitaram Mam Cha Sukhayo. In this way, you will also be happy. I will also be happy. Please do this. Stop taking bath in the urine of an ass. In this way, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami employs 3 methods. There are 11 verses in this whole Mana Siksha. Employs these 3 methods to instruct how a sadhaka should perform bhakti by practicing, by removing all these obstacles in the path of bhakti, by practicing some level of renunciation that is needed. At the end of this whole 11 verses, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami says, Manah Sikshadaika Dashakavarame Tan Madhuraya Giragayatyuchay Samadhigata Sarvartha Tatiyah Sayuthah Shri Rupanugaiha Bhavan Gokulavane Jano Radha Krishna Tulabhajan Ratnam Salabhate. He gives the falashruti of reciting these 11 verses. He says, anybody who is staying in Vrindavan, if anybody who is staying in this Vrindavan with Madhurvani, with very sweet voice, in Uchchaswara, in great voice, somebody who recites these 11 verses, Gira Gayati Uchchai Samadhigata Sarvartha Tatiyaha, all the obstacles on this path of bhakti will be removed. Sayutha Shri Rupanuga Iha Bhavanugo Kulavane. He will become actual Rupanuga. We call ourselves Rupanuga. So we can recite these verses to become Rupanuga. He'll become the follower of Rupa Goswami. And by becoming a follower of Rupa Goswami, he will attain the eternal loving service of Shri Radha Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami Pade ki jai. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama